Hello and welcome to another episode of Finding the Solution. My name's Ray, and it's an honour and a pleasure to be doing another episode. This episode's quite a tough one for me, and I've probably spoke about a bit of this in the past and in the past episodes. But this one's around being homeless. I'm going to introduce you to a beautiful person in a bit, but homelessness, hopelessness. Homeless, hopeless. Yeah, I think home brings hope. I think home really does bring hope. I think it's had a massive impact on my life. Having a home, having a social home. I'm doing this podcast from my social home today. And it is my sanctuary. It is my castle. It is somewhere where I feel really safe. It's somewhere where I've started to set foundations for the rest of my life. And I've also started to rebuild some of my life, find out who I am. For anyone who knows, I'm 4.5 years clean and sober. But yeah, I'm happy today. I'm happy. I'm sat in my home today. And I think it's important that we understand it's okay to not be okay. I think it's important we have empathy and compassion for people who are still out on the streets, for people who are in temporary accommodation, for people who are sofa surfing. And I went through all of them. When I sofa surfed, family and friends won't say that I was a burden, but I did feel like a burden. I felt sort of very worthless, very sort of, like I was losing myself. And I could feel myself disappearing and I had no control over it. And I just, stayed on the streets for a few weeks, different days here and there. I'd lie to different people and tell them I was staying in other people's houses just when I felt sort of really, really low. But people ask me how I felt when I was on the street, and I can't really remember. I'll be honest with you, because you're right in the middle of that fight or flight. You're right in the middle of survival. You're right in the middle of hoping you wake up the next day. And that's nuts, innit? And that's what people are going through on these streets on a daily basis. And, Andy Burnham's just come out, the new Prime Minister, and said he wants to end rough sleeping. If there's anything I can do to help that, I am in. I don't think anybody should be rough sleeping. And then I went into temporary accommodation. And temporary accommodation for me should have been the next step to recovery, to finding out who it was. And it wasn't that. It was just like another form of a HMO. And a HMO is just a new name for a bed sit. I felt very isolated. I felt very alone. And it really did mess with my mental health, my anxiety. It really did break me down in a hotel, to the point where I'm a 53-year-old man and I can't stay in a hotel room on my own. I do bits of work here and there with crisis and shelter. And I will travel up to London a couple of times a year. And when I do, I try and do it so I can. And I'm just noticing that I'm fidgeting with my hands. And that's because talking about this makes me really nervous. But I will try and head up in the morning. I will try and do whatever work I've got to do, and I'll try and come back no matter how long the day is, no matter how tiring it is, because I don't want to close that hotel room door behind me and feel lost again. I don't want to close that hotel room door behind me and be full of fear again. And that's what it does to me. And that's the impact of me being homeless. That's the impact it's had on me. But you know what? Yeah, it's part of my journey. It's not the end destination. Life can be an uphill struggle, but the view from the top is beautiful, isn't it? And I say this in my recovery and in lots of other things, but my toughest days are the days you grow the most. And did I grow a lot when I was homeless? I see that I did now, but at the time, if you'd have asked me that question, probably wouldn't have had an answer. Yeah. But you know what, look, I do lots of work around homelessness and campaign in Liverpool, in a beautiful campaign called Help, which is House Everyone in Liverpool Properly. The campaigners in that are amazing. You've got Gordon, you've got Lovemore, Elliot, Kat, myself. We've got a beautiful lady called Michelle who's doing a video for us. And, feel free to come and have a look at our Help account on Instagram. And we'll throw the email up as well, and come and join us. If you're in Liverpool and you want to fight for more social homes, then this is the place to do it. Yeah. But, yeah, it's funny, but it makes me reflect loads. I've spoken in Parliament a couple of times. I have spoken in the Labour Party conference. I've sat alongside Andy Burnham in the Labour Party conference. And I've done outreach projects when I first come into recovery, and I'll jump on one every now and again. I just want to give back. I just don't want anyone to struggle. And I don't have that power. I don't have that capacity. But what I do have is the power and the capacity to be open and honest. And that's what I do now. I show you my vulnerabilities. I show you my weaknesses. But I also show you resilience, strength, courage. Because I've had to find the solution to lots and lots of stuff. And that's why it's called Finding the Solution. So let me introduce you to a wonderful guy called Brock Elbank. So, guys, here's another episode of Finding the Solution, and this week we have a very special guest. It's a guy who I've met just a couple of weeks back, Mr. Brock Elbank. Welcome to the show, Brock.
Thank you, Ray. Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm going to let Brock introduce himself in a moment, and the reason why I have him on the podcast. I think it's very inspirational what he's doing and part of his journey. But do you want to let people know what you do for a living, first of all?
I'm a photographer, and I've got a foundation called the Brock Elbank Foundation, which I've been doing this for about 12 years now, where primarily I am documenting minority groups to raise mental health and body positive awareness. In a nutshell.
Love that. So what other things have you done? I know you've got lots of work on without sort of, but...
So last year, for instance, I was commissioned by a Ukrainian organisation called Superhuman Centre I flew out to Lviv via Poland to document life-changing drone injuries for frontline soldiers and civilians. So it's about sort of showcasing people in a positive light. So it's taking people that probably wouldn't think that they would be ever in front of the camera, and me communicating how I see them in a positive way for the viewer. Yeah,
which is amazing stuff. And so you're in Liverpool.
I'm in sunny Liverpool.
Sunny Liverpool. There was sunny Luton before, but now you're saying sunny Liverpool. And it has been very sunny since you've been here, I'll be honest.
The weather has been exceptional.
Why have you come to Liverpool, Brock?
I've come here to start my latest series, which is on the homeless, or people, define it slightly better, people that have experienced homelessness. Yeah. So a lovely gentleman called Bill Rashley down at Shelter in London put me in touch with your good self.
Yep.
It's probably 3 or 4 weeks ago now.
Yeah, it's around there, isn't it?
Because I think the sort of stigma attached with people that are on the street or have experienced it, in my opinion, is wrong. I think there's a massive stigma attached to being on the street, and I did find myself 20 months ago in a position where I lost my family unit and my family home, so I sort of embarked on a journey of living out of my car, which I've done, and this exhibition that I'm just literally, I mean, this is the first week.
We're the first city.
You are L1.
Yeah.
So
L8 actually. I'm
where you are now. I mean, we're splitting.
No idea.
We're splitting hairs. And we haven't got any.
But no, we certainly haven't. But I am so happy that you've brought this to Liverpool first of all.
Me too, mate. It's been probably one of the. I mean, I said to you earlier, if I had to use one word to define this past week, I would say bonkers.
Yeah.
But in the most positive way. I think the people here, for me, have been exceptional.
Yeah.
So I mean, you were my first subject.
Yes, and there will be a couple of pictures probably of me spouted out about this. What other, I mean, just to jump in, because we will talk more about the homeless stuff, and we will talk about the other destinations you're going to go across this country, and the whole idea around that exhibition. But can you tell us some of the other exhibitions? I know you've done a few around sort of scars and stuff, pimples and so.
Pimples.
Is it pimples?
So, no.
Not pimples then.
Freckles.
Freckles, that's the one. Same thing. Pimples, freckles.
So, as an individual, I've always seen the strength in minority or people that stand out from the crowd. I don't see what personal, personal journeys that people have with their appearance. I see it as a strength.
Yeah.
First of all.
Yeah.
So the first project I did was actually on beards, but it was for a Australian men's skin cancer charity back in 2015, and that was at Somerset House, and that was the sort of the blueprint for me moving forward with the foundation and sort of embarking on this type of work, because I've always been I've always fought the corner for the underdog, for the ones that are misunderstood by society. I think everybody should have a visual voice to share their journeys, their experiences, to celebrate and educate their corner.
I think it's about if you capture the person in the right way, and I mean, obviously this is your job, but if you capture the person in the right way, I think you can empower the person as well, though.
I think for me it's. I mean, obviously we did your portrait last Friday with now I'll call a friend David as well. Usually I work one-on-one, so that was quite an interesting process for me, because I was literally photographing you sort of not literally back to back, but it was one portrait after the next. And I think for me, everybody should have a portrait at some time in their life.
Yeah.
I'm not saying by me necessarily, but I do feel
Be a busy man, wouldn't you?
Well, I've been busy this week, mate. I mean, hence why I'm here for another week. But I think that sitting in front of a camera and feeling vulnerable enough and comfortable enough or confident enough to share yourself behind, everyone has a mask.
Yeah.
And I think if you're able to communicate that in an image, that is the first step of that person moving forward with their journey of acceptance. And
it's funny you're saying that, but like when Brock was photographing me, he was throwing little shouts at me, like remember Istanbul when Liverpool won the Champions League.
Yeah.
But he threw Istanbul in after he'd asked me to think back of like some of my lowest moments, and I don't mind, that's the wrong word, but I'm quite open to be vulnerable. I don't think me being homeless defines me. It certainly makes me more resilient, it makes me more stronger, it makes me a more rounded human being, I think.
For sure.
I think there's something about being at rock bottom or being at a low point in your life before you start to see the truth before you start to see stuff that is right in front of us that we don't see. And I think it was funny, but Brock showed me a couple of the photographs, and I can see some of the moments in the photographs, which, and then, yeah, I mean...
I think for me, Ray, it's a case of when I meet someone, I kind of have to not make an assumption, but I have to work that person out, and it's how my brain works, that within 5 minutes I have to have painted a mental picture of their personality, as it were. And what I then try to do is take my perception of you as a character and your experiences of being homeless and show that in an image, but not show it in a negative way, but show a bit of vulnerability. And I've got to say, and I'm not just saying this because we're recording this now, Ray, but you were very... it was easy for you to kind of tap into that. There's a lot of people that take a bit of time to adjust to being in front of the lights and the camera and working in this generally alien way for most folks. But when I was giving you sort of trigger directions, you just tapped into it, and that's why I mentioned Istanbul.
Yeah, no.
Because we kind of went very deep.
Yeah.
And it was perfect for what I wanted. But then obviously you're an extremely bubbly character, and I wanted to kind of pull you back out of those memories. So that,
and it is, isn't it? It's, you know, it's okay to look back to see how far you've come.
Exactly.
And I love that saying, I really, really do. But you know, if I can't, and this is not just for me, and I'm not putting words in anyone else's mouth either, but if you can't look back and you can't see where you was at, how do you move forward? How do we strive to be a better person? How do we strive to not be homeless again?
Well,
and
to change.
to make that change, and that positive change, and also to show other people
that they can.
I mean, I believe somebody always has to be your light. I believe someone always has to be your North Star. Somebody always has to be that person you can look up to. And for me personally, it was like a friend of mine called Luke, who just got me to walk into the rooms of recovery. And even though I was homeless and that, it was the first chance in my life that I'd had the opportunity to look at me and to really be, you know, for the mistakes I'd made in my life.
Be honest.
Yeah, people have hurt, and people who've hurt me, and I'm saying people who've hurt me because I thought everybody had, and I didn't see my part in anything. I think when you're homeless, or when you're on the streets, or when you're in temporary accommodation, or whether you're sofa surfing or you've lost your property, I think you have to look at your part in it. You have to be open and honest with yourself to make that change.
Sure. No, for sure.
And I don't mind. I mean, listen, we were taking the photographs, and there was a couple of times you said, "You're okay," and I was like, "Yeah, I am." And I was right in that moment. I was right in that moment.
It was difficult for me to, because my process is that I've got a monitor so that it's digital, it goes straight to the screen. So I'm kind of I'm looking at you and I'm checking the monitor and stuff, and there was a sort of cluster of captures. There was about 10 or 12, and you just were in this space, is the only way I can say it. And it was just, for me, it's sort of translating that to the viewer, because the whole point of doing this exhibition is not about doom and gloom.
No,
it's about showing that any of us
at
any one time can have one piece of misfortune or fortune. You know, I think that sometimes hitting rock bottom means that you evaluate where you are, and when you don't have anything to lose, I think that is, and when you're in a position where you have time to reflect on who you are, where you are, what you've done, what you need to do to literally claw your way back. I mean, the last 18-20 months for me have been very, very challenging in research for this, but it has been the most enlightening time for me, that I've had time to go on this journey and change myself. For the better.
You've got to change, haven't you? You've got to. I think there's something in that, what you just said, though. It's not about doom and gloom, and I don't mean that. I don't think anybody who is in the middle of homelessness, who's living on the street, or whatever your journey may be, I think there's that moment. There's that moment.
It's the moment of clarity.
Yeah, it's the moment of clarity where you sort of look back at yourself and think, no. And that doesn't mean you come off the street. That doesn't mean you're not homeless anymore, but it just means that resilience and that fight, that light inside is just, or that fire inside is lit up. And for me, I always say this, but I met a girl from shelter called Kat. And I'd been to shelter and I'd told my story, and they'd put me in touch with the council and they put me into temporary accommodation, and I met Kat. And it was like that moment of clarity kicked in, but it was like, it wasn't about me anymore. It was like, how do we stop this happening to anybody else? I think it's really easy for me to tell my story and I'll like have a pity party, but how do we stop it happening to somebody else? And hopefully this exhibition can not just empower people who are on the streets, but also empower people within power, people in governments and councils, and them people who look at these photographs and see people have a human side. This is a person-centred approach where we look at every single individual, we treat them as an individual, and we see what help and support they need to put an end to this today.
Yeah, I mean, I was in centre of town today. I went to the Brink, did some work this morning, worked on a few of your images in black and white, just to have something for you to work with, and I popped into Lime Street and round there, and there was a guy with his sleeping bag and he had a cup, and there's people sat outside a few bars and pubs, and I followed him. I was crossing the road, he was there, and everybody was sort of ignoring him, and I literally had 60p in my pocket, and I went and tapped him and put it in his cup, and he was so kind and just very polite, and there were 3 tables, and they literally, you'd think that he was waving a gun around, sort of thing, and you sort of think that's what I'm primarily trying to shift a little bit, is that with everybody's image there will be a passage of words to accompany their image, so their experiences. Everybody's experiences are going to be different, but it's about showing that the people, the general public, need to stop ignoring people on the street, for me, and pigeonholing them into this arena. Because if it happened to them, how would they act in that environment? That's for me.
And who's to say it won't happen to them as well?
Yeah.
But I think there's something very important as well. It's not about how much you can give them. It's not about whether you can buy them food.
It's listening to
give them some time. Give them an ear to listen to some of how are they doing today. Ask them how the day is. I think the stigma around homeless, I say this, the stigma around homeless, as I say it as like an alcoholic, and the stigma around alcoholic was a brown bag with a bottle in it and me sleeping on a bench. And it's like, it's so far from that. But homeless has the same stigma, and how do we break that? How do you know how you can help that person? And sometimes that person just being treated as a human being could be all the help they need today. It could be all the help they need. And people say, if I give them money, they use it on drink and drugs. You go and live on the street. You go and live in a doorway. And you tell me how you get through that night. Because I understand, and I've slept in fear in parks and stuff, and people say, how did you feel? And you don't have a chance to feel. You don't have a chance to even think about that stuff.
Or switch off.
Yeah, you're just
constantly
thinking. Yeah, you're constantly your head is. And if you be honest, or if I be honest, I'm constantly tearing my life to pieces as well. Because how have I got here? Look what people have done to me, and it's never my fault. You're in the middle of fight or flight, And I think there's, I hope, and I believe as well, that maybe my photo guys will show you a little bit of hope. You know, it took me to be broken and broke down as a man to be able to find my path.
For sure.
And a lot of these people that you're going to photograph are going to be the same.
Yeah. I think it is a community, and I think this is a word, you know, we've spoken a lot in the last week. That for me is the sort of key word within this whole thing. I mean, I spoke to a lad called Rob outside Tesco's a couple of days ago, in his 40s, lost his family and you know, horrendous circumstances. And I went up to him, you know, people were just walking past, and I introduced myself and I told him what I was doing. And I said, "How's your day been?" He said, "Slow." And I said, "What do you mean by that?" And he said, "Well, I remember the kind people's names." And I think for me that sums it up, because I just sat next to him. I only have probably £1. I don't have a lot of money these days, generally cards and everything. I gave him £1. We sat there and chatted for about 20 minutes, and then I went in to get something and bought him a packet of biscuits. But after we chatted, we actually had a very similar story of how this all unravelled. And I told him what I was doing, and I went into the shop to get a couple of bits, so I was probably in there 20-25 minutes. When I came out, I gave him the biscuits and he'd remembered my name. And for me that encapsulates what people don't understand or know, is that, like you said, it's not about fueling addiction or anything. You know, they might need to raise X amount of money to get a bed for the night or whatever, for the shelter. But it's about, I mean, even my experience of in research for this is that you do feel like you've disappeared.
Yeah,
You don't exist anymore.
They often call people who are on the streets hidden homeless, and it's funny, they're hidden in plain sight. But there's something as well in this, what you're doing. You know, Andy Burnham's just come out and said, you know, he wants to end up sleeping in the next 5 years. Well, I really wish him the best of luck. I really do. But I think you need to understand the amount of support that's going to be needed in the background. Some of these people have been absolutely full of fear. And I know guys who are on the street who have been given keys to a place and they don't know what to do. And I know when I first got into my property, for the first 6 or 7 months, it didn't feel like a home. It felt like 4 walls. It felt like someone had given me something I didn't deserve. I wasn't sure whether I'd be able to stay here. I was kept on waiting for somebody to take it away from me. And it was funny, but even just basic stuff, like I got the rent paid straight to the landlord. I got all my bills coming out on the day and paid, so that I can't make any mistakes. And it's even just sort of basic stuff around budgeting and around helping. Some of these people don't even, you know, a shop.
It's supposedly life skills that we're not taught in school. Is being an adult and being, I've got ADHD and I'm terrible with paperwork and organisation and that sort of thing. And I think, it is that, in the past 18 months I've driven all up around Britain and I've just spoken. I haven't documented anything. I've just approached people that were happy to speak to me, to ask them what their experience of homelessness in Newcastle, what's it like compared to Brighton, compared to London, compared to Liverpool. And it's the same, but it's different geographically. And I think that there are people, I've been to soup kitchens during this time where people are so institutionalised with being on the street that they actually prefer it.
Yeah.
Because it's a simpler existence. So, there's so many layers to this. And, and I love the fact that Andy Burnham wants to do this, and, he's like, this is what I want to do. He's drawing a line in the sand. but it's so complex. I mean, my limited knowledge, my experiences with people is that, you know, how do you, you know, no two people's experiences are the same.
So it is about a person-centred approach, but it is not just about giving someone a home, but giving them the support and the network and the background. You know, you just said something there. It's about building a different community for them people, isn't it? Because their community is on the street. And you can just become where you feel safer. How do we...
I think some of the people I've spoken to is that they actually feel more relevant within that community because people that aren't on the street ignore them.
Yeah, no.
So there is this sort of, you know, they are seen more within the homeless community than, you know, those walking past every day.
Do you not also think though there's something in the word trust? I think when you're broken down and when you're homeless and when you're in temporary accommodation, whether you're sleeping in other people's, I mean, I've stayed in my brothers and I've stayed in friends on the couches where I've had 2 bin bags of clothes and my self-worth was just gone. I had no self-worth.
You feel in the way.
Yeah.
You just feel in the way.
And you start to accept that that's how life's going to be. And it takes them little moments in life, but how do we empower these people to know? And you know, for me, it is about building that community for them. It's about building that support network, building that structure. You know, there's a lovely model that we've tried in this country called Housing First. Now, Housing First gives you the house first, and then it gives you the support around, and it allows you to make mistakes. It's been modelled in Finland, and Finland have literally 0% homelessness. But it has to have money injected into it. And, you know, the people that this exhibition is about, or not about, that's the wrong word, but the people that are going to be involved in this exhibition will show their journeys, and I just want people to see the end product in some of these people as well. I look back and it seems like so long ago that I was lost, but then again it seems like yesterday as well.
Well, I mean, the emotion that you shared when I photographed it, you know, that it was there, present, you know, and I think that's what humanises you. And I think I posted something on my Instagram, I think it was yesterday actually, and I sort of said that, you know, I've got quite a healthy followership on my Instagram, and you know, people follow and sort of view. You know, you get the general, you know, the loyal followers that like the images and that, but most people just sort of watch from a sort of safe distance, as it were. And I said that the people that I've been introduced to here, that I've spent time with, that I've documented so far, have all been in the most vulnerable position. They've lost everything. They've been rock bottom. Some of you have been near death due to addiction or the living circumstances you're in. But all of them have given me everything that they have. And I think that sometimes people have to lose everything to value anything. I think society now is driven to wealth, status, and accumulating stuff we don't need. And I think when you've hit that point where it's either I slowly, tentatively move forward here day by day, or I die, in a nutshell, those are the people that value the most insignificant thing because they've had nothing. And I think it's about educating people that are comfortable, that feel safe, that, you know, this could happen to you, but also don't judge.
It's funny, but it just takes me back that, because I think about how many times I was thinking about taking my own life, and the number of times is I was uncountable, and that was where I was at.
But now, knowing you, I mean, I wouldn't even think that you were ever there. Do you know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
where you are. That's the progress and the distance you've covered.
I think there's something in that, though. I mean, like, you know, being suicidal, it was nothing to do with me being homeless. It was nothing to do with me losing my sight. But it was to do with, like, inner peace. I had no inner peace at all. I didn't know who I was. I was scared to look at me. I think I blamed the world for everything. And there was something very special when I came into recovery that the 12-step program made me look at me and accept who I was. And then I look back and I think, wow, dude, was very close of not being here many, many times. And I mean, only because I felt sorry for myself.
Yeah.
But having money didn't change any of that for me. I've had money and I still felt suicidal. And I know lots of people, you can have as much money as you want, but if you're not prepared to look at yourself as a human being,
the demons there.
yeah, they're there, aren't they? So, how do people get hold of you, Brock?
I would say Instagram, right?
Yes.
My Instagram, which is Mr. Elbank, so it's MrElbank. So it's Brock Elbank, and the email address is scars@mrelbank.com.
Cool.
Anybody can reach out. You get an automated response email with a bit of information on applying. It's not that anyone's wrong or right, it's about having diversity.
Yeah, and you have got sort of a thing you're sticking to, haven't you? And we were talking about this before, but like,
Yeah.
if you go off point, then you really are.
I think I would never finish the project.
Yeah, most definitely.
I think, initially I was disgusted at the level of this issue in London after Brexit. Then we had COVID,
Yeah.
and then things were put on hold forever.
But everyone come off the street.
And
No, just want to throw that out there, but everybody was taken off the street during COVID.
Yeah.
And then when COVID finished, they were put back out there, so...
Which, I mean, that's a whole different podcast.
Yeah, no, it is, but what I mean is, it can be done. It's achievable, you just already done it.
No, but I think for me, it's just showing as diverse an array of stories and faces.
I want to change that to a diverse array of positivity, because I think
there has to be. I mean, when I sort of embarked on this, it was about it's always about educating the general public.
Yeah.
Because there's something that is misunderstood. People that don't know the answer to something tend to keep it at arm's length, and I think if I'm able to, with everybody else, present their stories and their faces for the exhibition and show people that everybody is a human.
Yeah.
B, anybody can end up on the street, and also people can come back from the brinks.
And it's also about facing your own fear. I think a lot of people walk past people because they're afraid of being human and listening to that really tough story.
I think it makes people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I think people tend to ignore. It's easier to sort of look straight ahead and not do that than embrace and say hello to someone. And I think, like you say, it's not about the money. I think it's about if you can give someone 5 minutes of your day and have a conversation with them on a level where you're not stood up, you're actually on, if they're generally sat down, just giving someone 5 minutes of your day costs you nothing.
Yeah, time is valuable, isn't it? What other cities are you going to be going to, Brock?
Well, I mean, the way things are going, it's just going to be in Liverpool. The way
Yes.
I might just move.
He's honorary Scouser.
Glasgow, Edinburgh, Newcastle, Nottingham, Manchester, Wrexham, Birmingham, Cardiff, Bristol, Plymouth, Bournemouth, Brighton, Ipswich, Norwich, and Northamptonshire, and Nottingham.
Cool.
I think.
And I
But
think
it might be just Liverpool.
Yeah. No, it's not going to be Liverpool because there's so many people that need.
Yeah.
So I think we need to put a story to the face, a face to homelessness. We need to make it real. We need to bring it to life. And I'm not saying it's not already But for me personally, I think there's so many numbers spouted about how many people are homeless, and they are just a number. Brock was saying, about empowering over 100 people, taking portraits of 100 people, but I think we can empower Andy Burnham, people within government, people within councils, people within organisations to really bring some of these people's stories to life, and then empower the people themselves, isn't it?
That's the plan.
Listen, Brock, I wish you the best of luck. I'm sure you're gonna meet loads of amazing, wonderful people on this journey.
Past week, hence why I'm staying another week.
Yes. You can't get rid of him now, he's here. But
who knows,
guys, come and join Brock. Come and add him on your Instagram. If you're in a local organisation that thinks you can help, or you can reach out, then feel free.
Ping me a message.
Yeah, ping you a message. Add him on Instagram, and we'll throw a few photos up as well on this podcast. But it's been lovely having you, Brock.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
So, big massive thank you to Brock, first of all. Big massive thank you. And you know what? It's funny, but just having a chat and just going through some of that stuff and talking about being homeless, it really does bring hope for me. And I hope that people pick that up. I hope people pick up the positive energy. As I said, it's not my destination. It was part of my journey. But Andy Burnham said, no more rough sleeping. Andy Burnham said he wants to bring hope. I'm in. What can we do to help? How do we make changes? How do we change this? How do we help? So look, my one thing I'd say to you is please don't walk past anyone who's homeless. They don't need money and they don't need food. Treat them like a human being. Sit down, have a chat. Ask them, is there any way you can help? Is there anyone you can put them in touch with? Is there a phone call you can make the next day for them? Everybody deserves a safe, affordable home. Everybody deserves a foundation to build the rest of their life. Everybody deserves to be loved. And I hope you picked this up from me today. But everybody deserves to find the solution. And that's what I've had to do around alcoholism, addiction, homelessness, sight loss. And I'm sat here in front of you today with no excuses, right? I get stuff wrong on a daily basis. I'm full of anxiety and fear on a daily basis. I don't feel like I'm getting things right on a daily basis. But I'm here. I'm sat in front of you. And for that, I'm truly grateful. So thank you for everybody who's watched today's episode. And please take a bit of the positivity. Please don't be afraid. Don't be full of fear. Stop and speak to that person if they're sat on the street. Be kind. Be humble. Be full of empathy and compassion. Be a human being today. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for another beautiful opportunity to do this. And I'll see you soon in finding the solution.